Okay, and we are live. All right, folks, I'll be with you in just a moment. We have some details to work out. Good, I can see the comments. I'll get a few minutes for people to join us. Okay. We are live. We'll get the volume down here. There we go. Just give me a minute, folks. We're live, Ken.
Live, very good. Hi, everybody. We're going to see ourselves in a big delay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a little weird.
So it was going the way it was. That's the way it was last time, but we didn't have that issue. So what I'm going to do, well, I'll shut the video down. Let's see.
Switch to Facebook Live. So here I now come in. This is a long time delay. I've been here for 30 seconds before I show up.
All right, here we go. I can't see it. No, let me see it. Shoot.
So everybody, while Bob is working on the technical aspects of our presentation, today we thought we would share 5 wines with you, and these 5 wines are on a special discount and have been for the past few weeks and will be for the next few days up until the 24th. We have our 2017 Elderberry, our 2017 Hermitage, both the still and sparkling versions of our Crabapple, and our very unique kiwi berry based dessert wine called Passion Popper. And Marika has put together a beautiful board for us to compare these wines with different foods.
Good. All right. I think I've
So
done mucking with this.
Live. We just can't watch ourselves because
we're live. We've got 4 people joining us. Hello out there. As always, please comment or like the page so that we know you're out there and we know you're watching. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions, and we'll try and get to the answers as quickly as we can. Hopefully, we'll get to them live. I know Ken's anxious to have some wine, so we're going to pour some wine.
I think Chuck would be proud. We're just starting off and we're pouring wine. Chuck can't join us tonight, this afternoon, because he's all the way over in Hawaii, in Kona, or maybe on his way back. As many of you know, he's a pilot, flies for United, and he flew out of Newark, New Jersey on Saturday out to Hawaii, and he's on his way back for the holidays. And so hopefully he has a wonderfully safe trip and everything goes real well. We'll see him when he comes back. Maybe he'll bring us some macadamia nuts.
Yes.
Macadamia.
He might bring us some
meat.
Kona coffee too.
Kona
right?
coffee.
That's where he is.
Yeah, we had some meat before.
And some no.
Kona coffee.
Kona coffee one day. I still have some of that meat actually in my cellar. Yeah.
You know, we could distill it if we knew how to distill or how to still, which we don't.
We don't. No, we wouldn't.
But just just suggesting that.
If we ever get to a place,
if we ever were legally distilling.
Yes. Okay. That's moving right along.
Yes.
So Marika in the Deli presented us with this very nice collection of foods.
You can't even tell if it's showing up.
I'm just going to have to guess. Half a minute delay if I stand here long enough. So there's some really nice selections of stuff. We're going to try these with the different wines that we're sampling today.
Oh, I love the aroma.
And Ken just jumped right into the Hermitage. So as Ken said, these are the wines of our holiday sale. And there's only, what, 4 more days? Yeah. You only have till, no, you have till
Till Thursday.
Thursday, 3 more days to take advantage, and it's a really great sale. 25% off each bottle, and if you're a club member, 35% off. So this is the time to take advantage. And these are some of our favorite wines. So we're really excited to bring them to you at such a great price. But that ends on Thursday. So hopefully you can get in before then. You can buy them online. If you're a club member, please call us at the winery and order directly from the winery, and we'll ship them that way. Because the club member price is not able to be listed in addition to the sale on Vino Shipper. If you're not a club member, the sale price is on Vino Shipper on our website, and you can go right in and order them at 25% off and get them.
So
shipped
that's up
to your house.
until midnight on Thursday night.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
Via Vino Shipper.
Via Vino Shipper.
And it could be 2 or 3 in the morning here if you're in California, or 6 the next morning if you were in Hawaii.
That's right.
So you could actually extend it out.
Take full advantage. We want you to buy the wine, so it's okay. We'll be happy with it. It'd be really wonderful. So anyway, what are we going to try? We're going to try the Hermitage first.
So, for those of you who are not familiar with this, our Hermitage is our premier dry red wine. It's a bit like a Rhone red blend, comprised of 4 different dark berries: blackberries, elderberries, blueberries, and black currant. And I'm actually hoping in the future to maybe infuse a little bit of some black raspberry in here. I'm going to experiment with that. But we'll see. I love this blend. It's such a nice thing.
Don't mess with this blend. You got the
I knew you were going to come back with that something there. Don't mess with it. That's just like my wife with Petite Blue. Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up. So, but before we skip this, let's talk a little bit for those who are just joining us, who haven't been on our presentation before. Let's talk a little bit about how to appreciate the wine in the glass.
Please, you do a great job with that.
So why do we swirl our wines? Well, the most important reason to swirl your wine is that you look
like a winemaker.
You look like you know what
professional.
you're doing. Exactly. Don't I look like I know what I'm doing? Yeah. So anyway, that's really has nothing to do with why you swirl your wines. You swirl your wines to increase the surface area of the wine on the glass. The greater surface area, the more volatile gases escape into the globe of the glass, filling the globe up with the aromas. That's really important because you want to take the opportunity to take a big whiff of those aromas. The only way you're going to fully appreciate the taste of the wine is to understand its aroma. And your taste buds are half aroma and half, so half your nose, half your taste buds come from your nose. So
half
take
your nose? You said half your nose.
I know.
Is it the left nostril or the right nostril?
Both nostrils. Suck it right in there.
All right, very good.
Stick the whole schnoz right in there and really smell the wine and start to determine for yourself what it is you're smelling. Start putting names to it. Is it berries you smell? Is it a certain type of fruit? Is it something that's not fruit? Is it not edible? Is it something, did you smell something that isn't something you normally would eat?
Now, from here, Bob, comment on this. There are some tremendous vertical drops forming down the inside of that glass.
So that's called the legs or the tiers. When you swirl the glass, you create a line here where the wine starts dripping down. And the legs of the tiers don't tell us much about whether the wine is a good wine or not a good wine, which is what some people suggest, but that's not the case. What that tells us is the alcohol level and the sugar content of the wine.
So higher alcohol and higher sugar means thicker legs, longer legs?
Well, you'll get more legs
legs
with higher alcohol.
More legs.
And they move more slowly with higher sugar.
So more viscous.
More viscous.
I got you.
Right. So if you have, if you start to see lots of legs appearing and they're moving rather rapidly, that's suggestive of higher alcohol. If you see them,
which is what that's doing.
yes. Although this I would say this is medium.
Medium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're widely spaced.
They're widely spaced. Yeah. And they're moving pretty rapidly. So this has zero residual sugar.
So that makes sense. It's dry. It's coming down. What's interesting, the physics of this, the wine has coated the inside of the glass, but the alcohol vapors are rising. And as they rise, the alcohol pushes the liquid aside, right, into these little tiers. So it's the alcohol going up
it's the alcohol going up. It's as much about what's going up the glass as it is about what's going down.
I love if you take like a rinsed glass, you got water in the glass, you just rinsed it, and you pour some wine into it. Don't swirl it. It will create legs.
Yep.
Without swirling.
Yeah, it's really cool. Oh, I was going to say something about that.
Can you see
Oh.
comments if you watch here?
I was hoping I could.
I see some coming up on the screen.
Oh, good, good. Oh, Gary's with us. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hi, Tom. Chuck's with us. Excellent.
Excellent.
Good to see you, Chuck.
I wonder where Chuck is. Chuck, where are you? Are you still in Kona? Or are you flying? Are you able to use the internet while you're flying over the Pacific Ocean?
So anyway, you swirl the wine, you smell the wine, and then the last thing you want to do, or the next thing you want to do, is put some wine in your mouth and chew it up. Chewing the wine exposes your whole mouth to the flavors of the wine.
Oh, try this with the brie. Wow, I didn't anticipate that.
So after you chew the wine for a moment, swallow it, and then the last thing you want you to do is retronasal. So breathe in through your mouth and exhale through your nose, and you'll get what we call retronasal, which is the smell centers on the backside of your nose that perceive the wine differently than the front side of your nose.
And that takes a little practice. If you're not careful, you can end up, or I'm thinking about slurping the wine. Sorry, not retronasal, but even still, you can sort of capture yourself and choke a little bit on your wine if you don't do that carefully. Make sure you swallow, close your mouth, and then exhale through your nose. You can kind of do it when you still have the wine in your mouth, but it's a little tricky to get that going. I like using that a lot to detect if there are any flaws in a wine. So acetaldehyde, volatile acidities, things like that will show up if they're in a small amount. Diacetyl, little components in a wine that might detract from it. You may not notice that up front, or smelling it and drinking it, but on the retronasal, those can come out more.
It takes practice. I mean, the first time I learned about retronasal, I didn't actually experience those nuances. I had a hard time discovering the differences. But the more I do it over time, you get better at it. You start noticing those subtle differences.
Have you ever tried doing that with scotch or tequila?
No.
It's awesome. After you swallow, for sure. So
Yeah,
you don't want to bring in all that air, but that's still those residual aromas waft up from behind. It's really quite nice.
I'll have to go and try it. Okay, so that is the brie.
So try the brie.
It's
It's really
fantastic.
amazing. I thought for sure the wine might overpower it, but that brie really comes through.
Really pungent
in a
brie.
flavor. It's a really pungent brie. It's almost like a blue cheese brie. It's really.
Ooh, speaking of, maybe try with that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So this is the Hermitage. This is one of the bigger wines that we make. It's going to hold up with more full-bodied foods. Really nice. Go with you could have this with a steak or a pasta with a bolognese sauce or something, or maybe some blue cheese. What do you think?
And this is a very special blue cheese. I don't eat blue cheese unless it's this blue cheese. This is from Blue Hill.
Blue Hill out of Vermont. Yeah. Not as good as the brie. The cheese is.
I like the aroma of the blue cheese with the aroma of the wine, but once it goes into your mouth, the cheese is gone to me. I just taste the wine. They don't go together. Whereas with the brie, the mixture in the mouth, the flavors, the brie became more aromatic, it seemed, sort of retronasally when I was having it with the wine. Really very nice.
Chuck's in Denver.
Aha, Denver. All right, he's on his way home.
I need a little more sugar of that. That's really good.
Now, one of the things I had never really done before until Deb had put walnuts on one of these charcuterie boards was to compare nuts with wine. I don't really think about that, but there are some woody notes from the barrels, and there's some oils. Nuts have a very unique type of oil, And it's been very interesting for me to try nuts with wine. It's kind of a new thing for me.
It doesn't go with Hermitage.
Oh yeah, that's all wrong.
There's a bitterness to
Oh yeah.
the nut that doesn't work with the
And
Hermitage.
that's why, I think of nuts when I think of beer. They seem to go nicely together.
Yeah.
But not with wine. But we had some the other day, and I think it was with the rosé, and I'll be curious when we get
I'll bet you it goes.
to our rosé. We'll see if the walnut, that little bitter bite in that walnut oil may go really well with something with a little residual sugar and maybe higher acidity to wash it down.
Mhm.
All right. I think we should go to the elderberry because
While you do that, I'm gonna have some cheese.
Enjoy that, yeah.
Hermitage.
so
Harmon's cheddar.
I'll tell you a little input on this wine. The elderberries we get from an organic grower, certified organic grower, as well as a forager here in New Hampshire. The bulk of them come from a certified organic grower down south. And they're fantastic. There's a couple different varieties of elderberries. And he has some that have a higher level of tartaric acid. And they seem to make a wine that's somewhat more wine-like, I think, because of that tartaric acid, which is the key acid in wine grapes. It's interesting, a lot of fruit vary in the components of the type of acid that they have. Wine grapes, red wine grapes, white wine grapes have malic acid. And malic acid is typical of green apple, Granny Smith green apple. So different fruits have different levels of malic acid, and when you make a red wine, you often will put it through a secondary fermentation to convert that malic acid into lactic acid, which is soft. So Cabernet, Merlot, that softens them out. When you make a wine out of elderberry, elderberry doesn't have any malic acid. There's no reason to put it through malolactic. Blackberries, on the other hand, are loaded with it. So it's harder to actually get the blackberries to go through complete malolactic transformation. These are new challenges that I've been working with in the wine. So these organic elderberries come here, they're fermented and put into barrels on their own. And a good portion of the elderberry wine that we make goes into our Hermitage. But I always make extra elderberry wine because I want to have that as a separate wine because it's got such a unique earthy sort of character to it. So this is the same vintage of when we put together the Hermitage. It's just the leftover elderberry wine, and it's blended with a little bit of the blueberry wine that we do in barrel. There we go. I fixed it. You fixed it. How'd you do that?
I'll tell you later.
All right. Much better because that time delay was very
It was awful.
distracting.
You couldn't look at the screen.
For those of you out there, we were watching ourselves about half a minute behind when we were speaking. So describe this because everybody, and then I'll describe it. Everybody has a sort of a different take on what an elderberry is all about when you turn it into wine. There's a very unique character to it, not
Well,
like
this is
any grape wine. that I know.
60% elderberry and 40% blueberry, right?
It varies slightly in every vintage, but around those percentages, exactly in this bottle, because that's what it says, for sure.
It actually doesn't.
What does it say?
It just says blueberry and elderberry wine.
I love it. It's good.
You got it right. Happens once in a while. So we have to say hello. Tom Campbell, the guy who makes our hermits,
Oh,
is
Oh,
watching
great.
today. I hope you're still there,
Excellent.
Tom.
excellent.
If you're not familiar, we carry the Great American Hermit, which is this absolutely divine. We get the kind with the lemon glaze,
Oh.
and it's addicting. It's like crack. You
They
can't
weigh about 4
eat it.
pounds.
Yes.
of goodness.
It's fantastic, yeah. So, Tom, half the ones you send us just go home to me. So I can't stop buying them. They're so delicious. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful holiday. And then Chuck says he's at LAX, he's going to LAX ORD EWR tomorrow. Like I know what all that means.
Yeah, he's in LA.
Sure. LAX with ORD.
That's
You don't know either. EWR?
that's Newark, I think. It has to do with like the name of the airport, like Dulles Airport. All right, so this is, I know he's going to give us a translation.
Yes.
Because that's Chuck, good with details.
I want to say hello to Sally. She's joined us. Pamela has joined us.
Hi, Pam.
And Mark Grand and Janice Sullivan
Excellent.
and,
All right.
and Juliana.
A good group for the holidays.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Nice
everyone.
to see everybody. We're talking about, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the wines that we have on sale for our holiday sale right now. These wines are priced extremely well for the next 3 days.
What's the discount again?
It's 25% off.
Awesome.
Off the retail value. If you're a club member, 35% off. So take advantage. It's the last 3 days of the sale.
All right, now I'm going to go in on something. I'm going to go in with a spicy.
You do that. I'll take the. I'll go with the Fortunas. Fortunas. So both of these are Fortuna salamis out of Vermont. Excellent company that makes some really wonderful salami. And I'm just going to try the meat alone without the cracker.
That's probably a good idea. The cracker is quite dominant. I like these crackers a lot. But I thought it might subdue the spice, which it is.
Mm. Yep.
Spice is too much. Good there.
Absolutely. So that Fortuna salami. This is Genoa, I believe.
Spice is hard.
Mm.
Hot spice is difficult with wine. Unless you're into a rosé or a semi-dry Riesling, something that has a little sweetness and crispness. The dry red, I think that spice makes your mouth water a lot, and it just conflicts with the red wine character. I know there are a lot of very familiar faces out there on our show, and so a lot of you know, but what's interesting about our wines, for those of you who do not know, that although they drink a bit like classic wines, dry red wines, both our Hermitage and our Elderberry are barrel aged in French oak barrels for a couple of years, and they hold up very well in the bottle for at least half a decade. They are not made out of wine grapes. They're made out of dark berries that grow really well in this area. So they're the terroir, the ingredients that grow really well here. That's our exploration. That's our approach and goal. What'd you try there?
I'm not sure what this is. It's unique. It's not quite right.
Is that like the pastrami?
Yeah.
Turkey pastrami or
Yeah,
something?
something like that. I don't know what it is. It's new. Not quite right. Oh, Chuck says ORD is Orchard in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago, origin in Chicago.
What does that mean, Orchard in Chicago? And Newark, you were right. EWR is Newark.
Because we flew into EWR from South Africa.
Mm.
I remember that on our tickets.
So that meat did not go well with
The Genoa is okay too, I think, with the Elderberry. Not quite. The Elderberry is such a unique wine on its own. And you never gave me your ideas on the aroma. To me, it's elderberry. This is what fermented elderberry smells like. What is that?
like sun-dried tomato.
Dried tomato?
Mm.
Try that with the Winnie White, maybe.
Oh, that's good with that. This is, it's distinctly elderberry, but it's reminiscent of an old world, like Southern France style aroma.
That's kind of nice with that tomato, actually.
Yeah,
The tang and the pepper,
yeah.
I think goes, and maybe you're thinking that way because Provence wine, Syrah based, lots of times Syrah is used with barbecue or things with some spice. It seems to go well with that, which is hard to pair. Zin will go that way too. Interesting.
It's definitely distinctly elderberry. I mean, elderberry has a very
nothing
clear
like it.
nose.
I've never had any grape wine that has this aroma. It's very distinctive. It always stands out to me. And I've never found it in even some of those, unique grapes from Italy or elsewhere that most of us haven't heard before. All of a sudden it's like, that's a wine grape? Oh yeah, they put it to good. What?
Well, there's over 3,000
3,000
varieties.
Yeah.
There's a lot we haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
And what is it? Americans drink 3.
Yeah, 90%
90% or 95% of all wines sold in the US is Cabernet, Chardonnay, and Merlot. So if you're one of those, I urge you to open your palate up. There's 3,000 other choices, and that's just in the grape world. As soon as you enter into the fruit world and mead, and the list goes on. So there's,
Which is really fun because if you find you enjoy Cabernet, seek out other dark red grapes or seek out Cabernet from different areas because that changes quite a bit. So it's really fun to explore, to try around different types of grapes and wine.
that's why a lot of people will come in and say, well, I can't drink Cabernet, or I can't drink Merlot, or a particular grape that they just don't like. And I always want to say, please don't make that decision, because a Cabernet made in California is going to be very different than one made in France, or very different again than one made in say, the Middle East, or in Australia or South America. So wines are going to be stylistically very different from different parts of the world. So you should never just say, I don't like a grape. You should explore that grape further.
I haven't had this 17 vintage of the Elderberry in maybe 6 months. And I know I just got through saying that this doesn't remind me of grapes, but there are times when I've had Tempranillo-based wines that have some of this characteristic. There's a unique, like spicy, earthy.
That's the southern France, that earthiness, what I like to call barnyard.
Yeah.
It's not barnyard, it's something else, but it's that earthiness that I get with elderberry.
Oh, this is really coming along nicely. I really.
That's have to have some more. We have some more. We got 5 wines to go through. We gotta be careful.
I don't know. This is good. Very good.
Valerie's watching. Hi, Valerie. And Mary Elliott.
Excellent.
Tim Rice.
We've got a good crew. I hope you all are staying safe and having a nice holiday time. As Bob mentioned earlier, these are wines that we have on sale. Great opportunity for people. Basically, your 4th bottle is free. It's 25% off, 35% off for club members. And it's a range. These are wines that we ended up with excess of. So we've put them out there on sale. There's nothing wrong with them to put them on sale at all. They're really coming in nicely. They're drinking beautifully. They go with food very well. And Bob and I like to explore this process of comparing our wines to these different foods that we serve here. And that's a lot of fun over the holidays. If you have the opportunity, you're having a glass of wine with your family or friends that are inside your inner bubble, or you're wearing your mask and keeping your distance. Try comparing it with different sorts of foods. It's really interesting to see when you find something that goes really well. It's magical. What are you trying there? A piece of bread.
The brie and the bread with the
Really good.
So the real truth, the very specific truth as to why these particular wines are on sale, you have to understand, when we make wine, we try and make what we can sell in a year.
to put it in perspective, these were made in 2017.
Right,
Thinking about what our sales might be in
2020.
2020.
And as you all know,
Lo and behold,
2020 has been a very different year from what we might have planned for or expected. The winery was closed for 3 months, and we're not allowed to do tasting, so we're not pouring as much wine at the tasting bar as we used to. So these are wines that we had made with the intention of selling a lot more of than we actually did sell this year because of those reasons. So we have an abundance of these, and we have the 2018 and 2019 vintages that are coming up behind these, and we need to get those out to the tasting floor soon. So we need these to go.
It's an opportunity.
So it's your opportunity. Come on in and get them. This is one of the best deals of the winery.
Both of these, I would recommend cellaring. You could easily cellar them for 5 years. So you can drink them over the next 5 years. They will continue to get better. They may go longer than that. I mean, we've had the Hermitage from 2012, 8 years ago.
Actually,
And it's evolving beautifully.
actually, Ken,
So-
never mind. It's not that great a sale. It really.
Don't
Don't bother.
Never mind. Forget it.
Yeah, we really don't have that.
The
much
sale
of it.
ends now.
Yeah, should we just end
Yeah,
sale?
yeah, that's just it. Yeah. We'll take that.
Just kidding, but you only have until Christmas, because really, Ken's right. There's no big hurry. We'll just have to find some more storage.
Well, no, it's really, I got room in my cellar.
There you go.
You have room in your
I
cellar?
do, yes.
Yeah, so that's, yeah.
No problem. Never mind. No worries.
All right, so
What's next?
let's jump to some rosé.
Excellent. Let's do.
Let's clear our glass.
Okay.
So this is a way of cleaning a glass without water. You pour the next wine into it, swirl it, drink it. You're not pouring it away or wasting it. Well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. With the elderberry in there. Uh-oh.
I think there might be a little future here, Bob.
Maybe not blueberries, maybe elderberry.
I think maybe a crabapple elderberry may be the way to go. That's really interesting. Just do a little, yeah, just do a little bit there. Now, of course, this crabapple already has blueberry in it. The next wine we're tasting here that's on sale is our Heirloom Crabapple wine made from the Dolgo crabapple. It's available in both a still and a sparkling version. And the sparkling version is also offered in our can called Dolgo. Chuck is wishing he had Dolgo with him because he loves it so much. And Bob is experimenting here with a little bit of elderberry tossed into this wine. It's very interesting. A lot of wines are blends.
Look at
You have white wines, red wines, blush wines, and they're often blends of different types of grapes. We here are working with various fruits that grow well in New England, and so we play around with blends as well. This is a crabapple blueberry wine. This is a blackberry, blueberry, elderberry, black currant wine. This is an elderberry blueberry wine. This one's a straight varietal. We'll be getting to this one. This is made out of a kiwi berry. So what do you think?
I think you're onto something. I think we got to explore this further. And actually, given the color, I'm wondering if maybe we try without the blueberry and just try with a little bit of elderberry crabapple. That might be interesting. And that maybe a little
And
more
maybe
percentage.
carbonate it and add some honey wine.
And then what?
I don't know, maybe some thyme or oregano.
We have time, lots of time.
We have lots of time. We digress.
So I would say some more great color, Gary said. Yeah, absolutely. That's
I
what
like
I
that
was
color a
most
lot.
intrigued with. Kathy's joined us. Ryan, nice to see you, Ryan.
Excellent.
And Chuck says he loves Dolgo.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
We know
Oh,
he loves
Geraldine,
Dolgo.
Geraldine's joined us.
Excellent. Hi,
Hi,
Carolyn.
Geraldine. I could bring her on camera. No, she
No,
wouldn't do this.
No mead here today, but now, this is a rosé-like wine, not a true rosé. This is made out of crab apples and blueberries. In the future, maybe elderberries as well.
How did we discover this?
Wow, that's a fun story. We'll tell it differently, but
Yes, indeed.
the truth of it
You're
is
getting
that
better.
the facts are that there is a tree that that was growing in the front yard of your and Geraldine's house in
Yeah.
Samberton. Before we were a winery,
Mhm.
this was in our early days of exploring making wines out of imported grapes. And then we started hooking into what was growing right around our backyards.
Mhm.
And Chuck and I were at your place to go for a bike ride, mountain bike ride. And the tree was in perfect form. Beautiful little red apples. I mean, they're beautiful. And this tree today, the Dolgo crabapple tree, is grown as an ornamental. Beautiful flowers in the spring, and then beautiful little red. They look like ornaments hanging in a tree.
There's two beautiful
And-
versions of it right down
Right
in the park.
Yep, they plant them in the
That's not
park, they
park,
plant them
right.
on parking lots, they're spread out all around New England. Originally, this particular apple was brought into New England as an additive for hard cider. And then Smucker's jam picked up on it and realized you could make a really good jam from it, and they started planting a lot of it.
Yep, hundreds. of
And then
orchards.
that kind of fell away when people figured out that they could create flavors and aromas by mixing chemicals for far less money. And
High fructose corn syrup.
with high fructose corn syrup. So it's had a long, colorful history. We discovered it just prior to a bike ride and decided to try to make wine out of it. Maybe we waste $5 and some time with some water and some sugar and some crab apples from your tree, but it turned out to be delightful and incredibly versatile as a fruit. And we have worked with a couple of different orchards now, and Chuck is very instrumental in connecting with these people. We're getting more and more of these Dolgo crab apples. So in our near future, we're going to have a Dolgo crabapple cider. And there are all sorts of possibilities down the road for this fruit.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Now, this should go probably with anything on that plate. I
Not,
haven't had anything.
not balsamic tree.
Well, I don't know what goes with that. balsamic thing. Quite honestly, that's a tough one.
No, I've had
That's
some
really a
things-
tough one.
I've had some things that go nicely with it, but this is not one
Was it a beer?
of them. No,
I mean, what wine have you had that went with it?
I can't remember. I do remember at one point.
Well,
I
maybe
had
we
tried
did like the
something.
Lake House White or something.
Yeah, there was
Something
something.
that went well with it.
But it
That's right.
didn't go good with crab.
Okay, well then I'll skip that.
What about the spice? You said spice,
I'm gonna
right?
try the spice. I'm gonna try this, whatever this is. This looks like
Pear.
creme fraiche
Or pear.
on a pear slice.
Mhm.
The Marika and Deb here make all sorts of beautiful foods out of what we got.
It looks like Tom Campbell is back. Hi
Excellent.
again, Tom.
I would encourage you all, as you're spending time indoors with friends, family over the holidays, to have fun with food and wine. It's really a great time. Does it work?
It works. It's so amazing. Because this is such
There's
an,
no way that works. That stuff is hot, spicy, intense.
and this cools you off. It cools you off and you still get the flavor.
This is a little overpowering for this.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was the case. Try that, you can try that. I'm surprised.
I'm gonna try it because
Oh, yeah. I like it. Because,
and that's a straight up spicy
Yep.
salami. That's the soupy, right, from Fortuna?
yeah, soupy from Fortuna. You get the cooling of the wine. It's very refreshing.
I like the flavor with the aroma.
When the spice doesn't go away, but this softens the spice. It makes it more enjoyable. You can let it linger in your mouth a bit and let the wine and the spice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
It's hard to find something that really doesn't go with this crab apple, except for the thing.
Figures right.
I mean, it's such, like you say, it's powerful yet easy drinking. You can pour it over ice in the summertime.
Oh, yeah, because it's
Which
got
is
so much
delightful.
flavor. It's such an intense flavor.
Yeah, and I think that's why it holds up to this, but it's not overpowering. It's not like a flavor that doesn't make room for other things. It plays well.
Yeah, yeah.
You can, throw it in a place with lots of other flavors.
Well, it's good for that. That's got a smoky character to it.
Oh, that,
I wish I knew what it was. I have to find out.
is this my piece?
Yeah, you can. I had 2 pieces of it. Really
This is
smoky.
like a,
Like pastrami I think she equated it to a prosciutto, only it's a
not
different.
prosciutto.
No, but it's made in the style of.
Is
a
it made out of
prosciutto.
turkey?
I don't think so.
Is it vegan? I mean, there's
It's
some
definitely
amazing,
not
there's
vegan.
some amazing vegan foods. I mean,
That is not vegan.
no, I don't think so. If it was, it could make a million.
Yeah. So blue cheese, how about that?
I don't think there'll be any problem
No.
with blue cheese on that.
No.
So, some of you out there, anybody had our crabapple wine? Anybody had this with Thanksgiving dinner? If you haven't, I highly recommend it. Roast poultry, turkey in particular, goes extremely well with crabapple wine. And if you're gonna have a turkey on the holidays, this goes really well. What do you think?
Absolutely. Feels good.
No problem?
No problem.
So,
There's an intensity to this flavor. It, like you said, it just holds up to so many different flavors.
let's liven it up.
Let's liven it up. Let's celebrate. with
Let's
some
move it up
sparkling.
another notch here. I remember, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, having Thanksgiving at your place. And we opened up one of these sparkling crab apples before. We were still cooking food and just hanging out, talking with Maya and Geraldine and Chuck and Bonnie and whoever else was there. And we finished the bottle in like 5 minutes and had to open another one. It's just so easy drinking. It was incredible. I love this device.
Yeah.
This is a device for opening champagne.
Plastic. Only,
Well, you could do
Nope.
cork too.
Nope.
No, you can't.
only works with these.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Well, it worked perfect. This is stoppered with a plastic cork. It's not a true champagne where you go through the traditional method of priming the wine with a little bit of sugar and yeast and letting that yeast eat up that sugar and create many bars of pressure in the bottle. This is done through a forced carbonation process. A lot of carbonated sparkling products are done in that way. And this, so this is still the, oh, I should use the other glass. I'm thinking.
This is quite crabapple. We're going to use that.
Okay, I'll use that. All the bubbles are just.
And actually, you know, that's
Now,
a
you're
good
gonna
point.
swirl? You're not gonna swirl, are you?
No, don't
Why
swirl.
aren't you gonna swirl? Rob?
See-
Tell our audience why you're not gonna swirl.
If I was to swirl this, all those lovely CO2 bubbles that are captured in the wine would be dispersed
Wait till you
very
smell this.
rapidly.
Wait till you smell this. All that CO2 is doing what the swirling would do and bringing all the aroma into the bowl. You just put your nose over the top and it's all there.
You so want to swirl though, don't you?
Mhm. Now, the other thing that
Oh,
is very interesting
nice gentle bubbles.
with the bubbles
Tiny
dancing on you.
bubbles.
Look at you're already, you haven't even finished your glass and you're going for more.
Tiny bubbles. Yes, this is good. It's getting down there. We're into the 4th bottle of wine. Whoops, go, I'm swirling.
You can't help yourself, can you? All right, so I'll try this with the vegan pastrami turkey.
So this is the same wine, folks. Same wine as we just had, only sparkling. Now, this wine is also available in cans. That's the cool. Chuck's getting all excited. now.
That's the bomb.
That's Chuck can't.
It's the bomb.
He just can't stop talking about the Dolgo. So
What's hard to recognize too is when you have a can, it's half a bottle.
it's half a bottle. So a can of Dolgo, which we called the can Dolgo, we wanted to differentiate it from the sparkling wine. So we called it Dolgo instead of the Heirloom Crabapple wine. And a can of Dolgo is 13.5% alcohol, just like this one, or 13%. And it's a half a bottle. So it's so easy to crack that can, and it's gone. And you just drank a half a bottle of wine in moments. And then if you're
Chuck
like
would
Chuck,
never do that.
and you grab 2, makes for a great evening and a really rough day tomorrow. So be careful out there with the cans. Be very careful, but delicious. And the can's very handy. You can bring this nice sparkling wine on your picnic or out on your
I'm
boat.
trying the fig with the cracker.
Ooh, with the
With the
sparkling.
sparkling,
How does it work?
I don't think so.
No?
Nope. I mean, I like the flavor of the cracker and the fig. I mean, it's just delicious, but it doesn't pair well with the wine. The wine does work very effectively at washing that down, and the wine tastes wonderful, but they don't elevate one another.
That's just it. The fig doesn't get any better, and the wine doesn't get any better by being together in your mouth.
Yeah.
The fig is a wonderful flavor. The crabapple is a wonderful flavor, but the two get together in your mouth, and they're each like saying to each other, "What are you doing here?"
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't work.
It is interesting when things really jive.
You know it
You
Right
know
away.
it's like bam.
right away.
Now, have you had the sparkling with the really aged cheddar? I bet that's going to be dynamite.
I have not.
So I'm trying it. I'm trying it right now with the pear with the creme fraiche cheese.
So we have some new people showed up. Thomas is here. Thomas, remember Thomas used to spin the wooden pens at our barrel tasting event?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Wow. Hey Thomas.
Good to see you.
Fantastic. That's great. I hope all is going well for you.
Wolfgang is finally joined us.
Excellent.
Good to see you,
Wolfgang
Wolfgang.
from Languedoc.
And Amanda Sweeney's here. Nice to see you,
Excellent.
Amanda.
Wow, great. This was a great crowd. It's wonderful. Happy holidays to all of you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Just 3 more days till Christmas.
3 more days till
4 more
Christmas.
days.
4 more days.
Hmm.
4 more days of sale.
4 more
Of
days
these
of sale. 25% off for 4 more days. But don't bother. Don't worry.
Actually,
We'll drink them.
actually, it won't be a problem.
No, not at all.
It doesn't happen. It's fine with me.
That's fine.
With this is an opportunity for them, you know, to pick up these wonderful wines at a discount. But it doesn't happen. I really quite fine with that. It's really good tasting stuff.
But it is nice to share.
I do like sharing.
Yeah.
It is a nice thing. So what do you think of that? That was a really aged Hermit cheddar. It's getting too hard to tell. We've had like 40 different slams of wine and food and
No.
cheese and
No, it's
different
not
things,
that.
or
No, it's not that. I actually think it doesn't, the cheddar is a very strong flavor. It's like, I don't think the two add up together.
do it with the still one.
Okay.
I bet you there's a difference because the bubbles change things quite a bit to a wine. They bite the tongue. There's a carbonic acid, a CO2 acid that bites your tongue, and it tingles and changes the sensation. And maybe the still product will go better with the coating of the oils of the cheese with that wine. Because you're not trying to dance bubbles across your tongue. You're trying to merge the two together. It might go better. I didn't try it.
Oh,
I was just pontificating on the situation.
well, try with the sparkling. You're absolutely right. It's better with the still. That's so fascinating. Why that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very good with this.
No.
Yeah.
It's the
I better try with
sparkle. It has something to do with the
It's the
sparkle.
bubbles.
Bubbles.
The bubbles change things a lot.
You gotta try this at home. You know, go into the refrigerator and just pull out a whole bunch of stuff. You know, get the pickles and the cheeses and the meats and just pull it all out and put it on a plate. Cut it into little pieces. Open up a few bottles of wine.
That's the key right there.
Probably should have some friends around to help you drink it. And then
No one with cameras.
try it. Try different wines with different foods. It's a lot of fun. And you're drinking a lot of nice wine at the same time.
So this is the tough one. What is a walnut do?
Ooh, a walnut. We haven't tried that with the crab apple.
I'm really interested about that. I really want to try different nuts with wines as we do this.
Nope. Not a
That's
fan.
the still?
Not a fan on the still. Vincent, hi Vincent. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, now that's interesting. So here's a flip around. So the cheese worked with the still, but not the bubbles. Try the walnut with the bubbles.
You trying to get me drunk? My goodness.
I just,
Here,
I was
swing those
listening-
bubbles down. You need to do that with the
well,
still.
I just see what you think, because I think it's not bad at all. The kind of the dancing of the bubbles on those bitter oils of the walnut. It's almost like, you know, with the beer with a nut type of thing.
It's better. It's definitely better.
It's still not right.
Still not exactly right.
Yeah.
Still not a great pairing, but it does help. This livens your mouth up.
Right.
It kind of lifts the flavors a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Because I get the walnut aromas and flavors, and I get that cleansing bubbles of the
Yeah,
sparkling wine.
but the flavors don't marry well in your
So don't work.
they compete a little bit. So what about the tomato, the dried tomato? Hmm.
That's a strange concept, right?
Yeah, no,
Dried tomato with a wine.
yeah, no.
It kind of worked with the elderberry.
It did work great with the elderberry, but not with this. It's too savory. It's too savory. This has got a little sweetness to it.
Go with the red wine.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Oh,
That's not.
oh gosh, no, terrible.
How about the pear with the,
I like that. Yeah, try that. That pear's all yours.
I was gonna cut it in half, so you can have half.
I already had a hole
Well, no, but
It's
you
all
can
yours.
try it with the apple.
in. I did. That's really good.
You tried it with the crab apple?
Mhm.
Oh,
I'll let you know what I think after you tell me what you think.
so this is pear with creme fraiche?
Which is a very,
Hmm.
the creme
Yeah.
fraiche is a gooey, light, fresh, easy eating cheese product. And it's sitting on top of a tannic, juicy pear slice. Pears have a lot of tannins. They have a lot of grit, a lot of grittiness, yet they have this watery lightness to them. And that combination is a really wonderful food combination, those two, on their own.
Absolutely. It was delicious on its own.
It's
Delightful.
delicious on its own.
Buried
Until you
it.
buried it with bubbles. Then it was all wrong.
All wrong. It was a really nice, delicate flavor in my mouth. That's really Italian. And all of a sudden I pour the crab apple and it's gone. Just gone. Eli's watching. Hi, Eli. Thanks for joining us.
Excellent. Hi, Eli. You know, he put
Priscilla,
Eli put
Richard.
a post on Facebook about Ron Carter.
Hmm.
And that just brought back wonderful memories.
I saw that.
Because Chuck and Bob and I were at the Eastern Winery Exposition in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on March
17th.
17th.
That was the day we saw
14th,
Ron
15th,
Carter.
16th.
No,
or
no,
something.
no, I'm sorry. 17th was the day that was Tuesday. 16th.
It was like the
15th, 14th, 13th. March,
13th
oh,
or
it's
14th.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. So we were at the Eastern Winery Exposition, which we attend every year. It's the largest
It was in Lancaster.
Eastern winery exposition that takes place. Both Bob and I have given talks there. We meet up with colleagues. We learn all sorts of stuff every time.
Great
It's
conference.
a great conference. And on our way back, we were stopping in Manhattan and to see Bonnie, and Chuck had arranged a beautiful event at Smoke, which is an uptown, west side of the park, fantastic venue. Long, narrow table, impeccable food, and this little tiny stage with lighting. And Ron Carter, which has been one of my heroes of the old jazz scene for decades, was there. And so Chuck took us there. The whole concept of this pandemic was just starting to form. When we were at the conference, we were told from the authorities there to start elbow bumping, to start not quite sure what's going on and all the rest of this. A few days after we left there, Manhattan started to grow into a bad situation.
Manhattan closed.
And not long after we left there.
2-3 days.
So we went there, we got in, we saw this incredible performance by Ron and his, were 2 accompaniments or 3, and that was a great event. So it was really nice to see that, Eli. I like that post a lot.
That, for me, was the beginning and the end of the world as we once knew.
As we once knew it.
It was.
I love
It
it.
was the last time that we kind of let our guard down and went out in a very public way and had a very
Yeah,
public-
we sat next to strangers. We didn't have masks on.
No,
And
and
we,
in
we're not
hindsight,
washing our hands.
in hindsight, we
We probably should have. Right.
So, but we
Got in a taxi cab.
Yeah, but we did thankfully get through that. We did not have to deal with COVID, but 3 days later, or 4 days later, we closed Hermit Woods for the next 3 months, which was
That's right.
was shocking.
That's right.
It was unbelievably shocking. So that was the last sort of moment that we were living our life in what was
That was the
our
last
old
time I
norm.
skied Canada until today.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Those are the bookends.
The bookends.
Those are the bookends.
So
of
did
the
you hear that?
pandemic.
We skied Cannon today. We got a chance to get out mid-afternoon, couple hours.
Yep.
Spectacular. It was hardly any wind,
No wind
35 degrees
and blue sky with some clouds going through.
and bulletproof snow, as you
Oh,
can
yeah.
always
It was-
expect from Cannon.
There were some places where we had some grip,
A little bit.
but there were some really hard sections. All right. So we're
Sharpen your
digressing a
skis.
little
Yes,
bit
we
here.
are.
And I just happen to have this bar of chocolate.
Oh,
here.
we should open that.
I have this bar of chocolate here.
Squam Lake.
Look at that. What is that made with?
Cheryl's joined us.
All right, we're switching around now. Getting rid of these big bottles, going into a tiny, skinny,
Oh, and this chocolate.
half-size bottle.
Yeah, well, he's getting that ready. This is the little Squam. This is dark milk chocolate with cashews, raisins, and curry. This is from Winnipesaukee Chocolate. They make this chocolate right out of Wolfboro, and it's delicious. And we found the curry in this goes really, really well with
this
our
wine.
passion popper. And if you haven't had passion popper, this is made with 100% kiwis that are actually dubbed passion popper kiwis.
Right, so I was just about to say that. So Bob, in his marketing genius, did not come up with this name, Passion Popper, for our wine. This is actually the variety of kiwi berry that goes into this wine. So for those of you, you're getting at that, aren't you?
I got it.
All right, you got it. All right. So for those of you out there that may not know this, kiwi is not just that furry fruit that you buy at the supermarket. That is one of about 20 to 30 different varieties.
Oh, didn't you
Of
say
a
there's 300
kiwi
different
fruit.
varieties?
No, I don't know that there's that many.
No, I could be wrong. Okay.
So anyway, there is a variety of kiwi berry that grows in cool climates. It originated in Siberia. It grows in these latitudes. It grows in Maine, in New Hampshire, in Vermont, in Massachusetts. Wasn't there a time just recently, a year or two ago, that Massachusetts wanted to make the kiwi berry
An invasive
an
species.
invasive species, because out in the Berkshires in the western part of the state, it was climbing up trees and pulling them down
Yes.
and
No, there
killing
was-
them, kind of like kudzu.
It was quite a fascinating story. There was a resort that existed in the early part of this century, or 19th century, and no, 20th century, early part of the 20th
Early
century.
1900s.
Early 1900s, and the resort went out of business, and the resort had planted kiwi berry trees as part of their their offerings to their guests.
Right.
It's something unique.
It's
exotic.
a wonderful fruit. It
Great.
almost looks like a grape. It grows on a vine, a very thick vine. They grow in little clusters, and it has a smooth skin. There's no fur on it, but you cut it open, and it's that unique
Looks
kind
like
of
a kiwi.
glowing green flesh
Yeah, it looks like a
with
kiwi.
little black seeds, and tastes like kiwi that we all know about.
So when that resort went out of business, it was abandoned, and it was abandoned for decades.
And the kiwi went
And
out of
the
control.
kiwi got out of control and just started growing everywhere. And it was a very isolated incident. There's no other example of that same type of thing happening. Being an invasive like that, but they were so concerned that it grew so prolifically in this one very isolated environment that Massachusetts seriously considered turning it
And
into
it was
an
a
invasive.
great grassroots movement. And we were involved in supporting not making that an invasive species because it has so many beneficial aspects to it.
Right, at the same time that was
Oh,
going on,
UNH was,
UNH was and still is working very hard at figuring out how to bring kiwis into a commercial crop, because a lot of the farmers, especially in northern New Hampshire, have a hard time finding crops that will succeed well in these cold climates.
economically.
Economically.
Yeah.
So they were thinking of it as a great way to bring a crop that could grow in colder places and do very well here in New Hampshire. If kiwis were made invasive in Massachusetts, it would have shut the market
It would
down
have shut it down.
in New Hampshire. So all of the efforts that UNH was doing would have been for naught. So a real grassroots effort did get that stopped. There's a longer study now. They're paying more attention to it and trying to be more sensible about it. And I hope in the long run that it's not identified as invasive. Again, we got to keep in mind this is a very isolated incident. There was only one incident like this.
Right.
There's no example of
It's not like
kiwis
kudzu.
taking over.
It's not like kudzu or some of them, or Japanese knotweed or any of the other things. Now, let me bring you back a little bit. So at the early stages of the pre-stages to Hermit Woods Winery, Bob and Chuck and I were really getting excited about making wine together. And I started reaching out to some friends about other materials that they might have growing in their yards that we could make wine of, just to experiment. And Greg Mead of Cold Garden Distillery.
Cold Garden Distillery, haven't been there.
Down in Canterbury. He grows an amazing variety of fruits and materials on his property. And he said, well, Ken, I have kiwi berries. Maybe they could be turned into wine. And we came out of the gate, I think in 2011, when we opened to the public, we had a kiwi wine.
Oh, remember that? That was
Right?
a great story.
You got a story in the Concord Monitor or
We
something
got
like that.
the Concord Monitor had published a story about this
I
new
forgot
winery
about
that was
that.
opening, and it went into USA Today.
Oh, we went national.
USA
In our
Today,
first
it was our
month.
first month, and we opened up with this kiwi berry wine, and everyone's like, oh my God, kiwi berry wine, who's doing that? And people were calling us from all over the country. And what did you make, like 2 cases?
Yeah, it was. I picked
4
I
cases?
picked a few kiwi berries.
Yeah.
Maya and I went down there and picked kiwi berries. We ripened them on our kitchen table.
No, I forgot all about that.
That
We had
was
this
great.
kiwi berry
That's so
wine that
much fun.
became famous around the world, and we had like 10 cases or 5 cases. I don't know. It was ridiculous amount. No, I'm sorry, it's gone.
It's gone.
It was sold.
So the reason we're telling you this whole backstory to this is this wine is made out of 100% kiwi berries. And this was an experiment of mine that is very unique. It's a one-off, it's an approach based on what we do with deep blue and deep red. So we take a pure fruit ferment. Now, grapes, wine grapes have a lot of juice. When you pick Gamay, when you pick Chardonnay, and you squeeze them, you get a lot of liquid out. If you take a little tiny wild blueberry, you take a kiwi, you take a rose hip, you squeeze on, you don't get that much juice out. So this was an interesting concept to try to work 100% with the kiwi berry to see what it would create. Because kiwi berries in cold climates reach the sugar levels of a classic wine grape. So they could reach, it's the only fruit that I know of that will reach the same sort of sugar levels that Cabernet would in California. 26, 28 bricks can be achieved in the kiwi berry in New England. So this is a straight ferment of kiwis without any added sugar. And so it's just the natural sugars of the kiwi. A lot of fruit, like in our Hermitage or the crabapple wine, the fruit itself doesn't have enough sugar to create the alcohol level that's typical of a wine, but the kiwi berry does. Along with that, the kiwi berry has intense flavor and extremely high acid. So what we did was to ferment this.
That is amazing.
And then I took a portion of it into my favorite little 20-gallon barrel that's somewhere in this corner and let it sit there for 2.5 years. And it turned brown.
That's this one.
No, I blended it. I kept some of it in a tank and some of it in the barrel. And then I blended it. And that's this one. And so you get all these intense oak characteristics, this aging, this richness, with this incredibly bright, acid-rich thing. I haven't sipped this yet, but I recall that when I first sip it, my mouth is shocked by the acid level. Then once my mouth acclimates to that, then I get all of these unique apricot and dried fruit flavors. And I haven't tried it yet, so
where you put the curry on top of all this wonderful.
and then the curry. Yeah.
Oh my God. This is the most unique wine ever.
It is one of the most unique ones. And as a varietal too.
Yes.
It's just a single fruit.
This is really special because it's so you, it's so us, it's so much our, what we're trying to do here. It's, I don't know, it's amazing.
Oh, this has evolved in the bottle. I haven't had this in 6 months or so. It's really evolved nicely.
And it goes so good with curry. It's a magic.
I have it in my sights, Bob, to make a white wine that has kiwi berry as a big part of it. It goes really well with Indian food. It's one of my goals.
So on that note, it's 5 o'clock, it's a little after 5.
Oh, man. Wow.
This is
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah,
Great
this is
berry.
great. There's so much going on in both the chocolate and the wine, and they go together. It becomes
It's so amazing.
unbelievable.
I have to bring a bottle of this home tonight.
Me too. And a bar of
Kind
chocolate.
of bar of chocolate. Brittany's joined us. Brittany, you folks out there remember Brittany Wargo? She was in our tasting room
Hi,
for
Brittany.
years. She was great.
Awesome.
Moved on to do different things. Glad you could join us today. So we're going to wrap this up. We're a little bit after 5. This has been fun for me. I think it's been fun for Ken.
Oh, it's a blast.
Got some
Like
great
eating and
food,
drinking. Are you kidding me?
eating and drinking.
With you,
5 wines
with them.
with them. It's just been great. We're not going to see you again until after Christmas. So, so holiday toast. I hope everybody has a wonderful and safe holiday. Please stay safe out there.
Yeah.
The vaccine is out. We're heading toward a solution here. But before we get there, we want to see all of you on the other side. So please be careful.
Drink lots of wine.
Drink lots of wine
safely, with good food and good friends.
and
safely.
we will see you next week after Christmas.
Yep.
And I don't know what we're gonna do.
Oh, you know what that is? You know what day that is?
It's Monday.
It's Monday the 28th.
In
You
the
know what's
cellar.
happening in here on that day?
We're canning.
600 cases,
Oh my goodness.
15,000 cans,
15,000 cans.
no,
We're-
16,000 cans.
Well, if you want to be part of that,
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be
Oh my
posting some
God. So
stuff.
Bob, I don't know if we're really going to be alive at 4 o'clock.
We'll see something at 4 o'clock. You will see us, don't
We'll
worry.
see a can.
You'll see.
You'll see us.
So,
I don't know how coherent we'll be. That's going to be a big day. We start at 7 a.m. with Ironheart Canning. They do a great job. This will be the 3rd time in our first year canning that we've had Ironheart at our place.
That's
The
really
third time in the
That's great.
first year,
in 1 year,
in 1 year,
in half a year since June.
since June. Ah,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining us again for another In the Cellar with Ken Hardcastle at Hermit Woods Winery. Let us know if there's something you want us to talk about, something coming up. We're happy to do that. And
except next Monday, we're gonna be just drinking Dolgo.
we're just going to be drinking next Monday. That's it. Just drinking.
It's
So-
Dolgo, Chuck. We're canning more Dolgo.
So thank you all. Have a
Thank
good
you all.
evening. Have a good Christmas. We'll see you next week. Take care.